guys. I'm going to open this thing up with a little bit of adult material.
Go get it!
So you might want to pay close attention because you probably learned something. When I first started doing phone sex professionally, it was during this kind of weird period in my life when I was still kind of young and wild, but I had gotten myself into this situation where I was being required to stay home and stay out of trouble. The story is that I was working at the time as an egg donor for a fertility clinic. And when I came aboard, they had made me sign this contract for clean living. So like no cigarettes, no drugs, no heavy drinking, and absolutely no sex until they got their eggs. But I signed the contract because it was just for a couple months and they were gonna pay me a fortune. And also, I wanted to be an egg donor. Because if you think about it, it's kind of an interesting proposition. I was actually being given the opportunity to impregnate another woman, right? Like that thought just fills me with this like lusty virility. But there I was, stuck at home on my couch, just me and my telephone. So that's when I decided to try and channel all that repressed virility into something a little more productive, right? So before I get to the phone sex, I just want to say that I was an awesome egg donor. They were able to get 40 eggs out of my body in just one retrieval. Thank you. And they were really good eggs. So my potential progeny could take up like the first 4 rows of this audience. Sometimes I like to picture them like marching. And even though I'll never know what actually became of any of those eggs, I do think it's pretty likely that there is at least one little person out there somewhere. And I guess she'd be about 9 years old. But anyway, so you guys think I'd make a good phone sex operator? Not really. It's not that I can't be sexy. I think I'm actually kind of good at figuring out what men want and using that to guide them to climax. But that is not actually what makes a good phone sex operator. If you want to make any money at it, the trick is all about like turning them on really slowly and then like never quite letting them get there. Which was hard for me at first, like I just didn't get it. I'd finish up some call that I thought was really hot, and I'd hang up feeling good, but then my boss was always listening in on the line, and she'd be like, "That was 2 minutes 40, Freya, you gotta get your head in the game." So I had a lot of satisfied customers, but no, I wasn't making any money. But I do want to tell you about this one call that I thought was really interesting when I finally got a chance to log some real minutes. And I knew this guy was going to be a little different when he told me that he had a passion for community theater. So as I go through this, I just want you guys to picture like that it's some long, drawn-out kind of back and forth role play, even though I'm just going to give you the gist of it real quick because we're almost out of time. So in this role play, I am a model working at an upscale department store where he is the manager. And when I get back to the wardrobe room, I undress, and the makeup person completely covers my body in this like, light powder. And then she dresses me again in something chic. And they tell me that my job is going to be to stand up in the window display all day long like a human mannequin. So I get up there and like get into position, and I find that it is unusually easy to stay in just like the same position all day long. And then it's getting dark in the store, and the store becomes completely empty. And I try to get down out of the window display, but I can't move a muscle. And that's when I realized that the powder that they put all over my body was not makeup at all, but this mysterious chemical that has transformed me into a mannequin. And then I hear his heavy footsteps walking up behind me. So he picks me up and takes me to the back room. And he's like stroking my mannequin skin, and it gets into this foreplay, which is kind of passive on my part, but he's into it. And then it escalates into this like rough mannequin blowjob, and then he gets there, and guys, it was awesome. It was like so many minutes, and then afterwards he's done, but like he still wants to talk, so he goes, "Nice job. So tell me a little bit about yourself." And I say, "Well, I work as a waitress at a topless bar in the French Quarter." And he says, "Oh, and if I came in, would you wait on me?" And I said, "Sure, baby, you just tell me what you need." And he says, "And what if I started running my fingers up the inside of your leg, up under your skirt, And now I'm feeling confident, so I want to draw it out even more. So I try teasing him a little bit, and I say, can't touch there. But then he says, that's what you think. But as soon as my fingers touch your wet little panties, you turn straight into a mannequin. Guys, he was really into mannequins, or like really into completely incapacitating women before sex, whatever. I mean, so interesting. I always wondered what it would be like to be with that guy, for real. He's out there somewhere, too. I wonder if he's ever been able to tell his lover what he really wants. All that fascinating private desire, most of which never gets anywhere past our own imagination, or maybe an anonymous phone call. Because even if you're really kinky, there are just some things that you cannot bring to the bedroom. Like, take me for example. I get turned on by artificially inseminating other women. And that is just not practical.